Got an old Jeep XJ and your oil pressure is just sticking there at like 10 psi, 20 psi and doesn't move when you rev. Could be your oil pressure sender is clogged right there. Let's see if I can, yeah, right there. Could be that you've got a short in one of the wires and have to replace the pigtail. If your oil pressure sender is clogged, you just unbolt it and unclog it. Or it could be that your oil pressure sender has gone bad, or a combination of those things. So stay tuned for a full how-to video on how to replace the pigtail at the very least. I've already checked whether or not it's clogged. And go ahead and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. All right, y'all, welcome back. Another problem with my XJ. I was driving along, all of a sudden oil pressure just dropped down to 10 and it stays there. When I start the car without actually turning over the engine, I just turn the key to start, climbs to 10, stays there. When I turn the key on and start the engine, no matter how much I rev, it just stays at 10. I tried unclogging the oil pressure sender. That didn't work. Now what I'm going to try to do is replace the pigtail, so let's get into it. There is your oil pressure sender. It's that brass bolt thing right here. Here's your oil filter, and this goes into the just where the oil filter housing kind of goes into the crankcase right there. And I have removed the oil pressure sender and tried to unclog it, because sometimes that causes the symptoms that I just described. That did nothing to fix my problem. So I took a closer look at the wiring, and I pulled back the sleeve here, and I don't know if you can see any of it, but it's kind of dirty anyway. But some of the wires appear to have, their casing has basically broken, and there may be some shorting going on. But in any case, my next try is going to be to replace this pigtail right here and put in the new one. And if that doesn't work, pigtails are kind of cheap, they're 20 bucks. If that doesn't work, then I'll get a good oil pressure sender and try swapping that out. Oil pressure, I think, is fine. I've got no mechanical issues, nothing wrong. So let's go ahead and jump into doing the work. Anytime you're going to be involved cutting wires or whatever, go ahead and undo the ground wire, disconnect your battery. You don't want to cause a short that fries out your ECU, trust me. First thing I'm going to do is trim back some of that wire loom. I've got so many lights down here so you all can see. I can't really see a darn thing. I'm just going to, let me see, I might not even have to trim. I was going to get a razor blade and try and go at this thing, but I think I can do it without trimming. And that way I'll save that loom. And I also want to see if, no, you know what? I'm not seeing any broken wires. Oh, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. There's a broken one. You can't see it because of the camera angle, but it's one of them at least is definitely broken. So I'm just taking a look at the colors on these things. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and snap a picture for myself here. Stand by. Just so I see how these things are oriented. And you definitely, if you're DIYing this at home, watching my video, take your own pictures and stuff. Trust me, you'll thank me. This is something you've really got to do, especially with wires and stuff. So I know exactly where these things go. All right, so let's go ahead and cut the wire. I want to leave enough. I want to make sure I avoid the broken area, but leave enough that I still have some wire to work with, because there's not much here. So, and I want to avoid having cut back as much as possible. So I got my wire clippers. The battery is disconnected. We're just going to go clunk. And there she is. Pull this tab out. You have to push from the other side. Squeeze. Squeeze. There it's gone. Yeah, I'm getting a better look at this, and I'll try and put it in front of the GoPro so you can see all the broken wires. I think this is definitely my problem. Let's see if you can see that close up. Man, it's hard to see where I am. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, at least two of those are broken and cracked and everything. So, time to replace. So what I'm going to use to replace it is an old Duralast, new Duralast that I just got from AutoZone. And they're not bad. Duralast is not bad. They're not great either. They're not my favorite or my go-to. But let's see if this does the job. It may not even fit. A lot of times I have these problems where these remanufactured or universal fit pieces, oh, it fits actually. What do you know? And it locks into place. Get out of here. I must have done something right. All right. Whether or not it works, that's a different story. So the wires don't match up 1-to-1. So I'm going to just refer to my picture and connect them in the same locations, and that way I should be fine. So I think the first one to start with is going to be down here, and then I'll have to look at my picture. But for now, what I'm going to do, now that I've tested my new pigtail, I'm going to come in and start stripping the ends off, and get yourself one of these, a nice pair of wire stripping pliers. And I really can't see while I'm doing this because I'm trying to keep the light and the GoPro and everything going for you guys. So if I look clumsy and awkward, that's why. So let me see which hole I'm going to use. The big one. Okay. These are really, really useful. Man, I can't see them. There we go. There's one. There's, oh, did it come off? Yeah. There's two. That looks a little corroded. That must have been broken for a while, I'm thinking. I think I got too much wire with that one. So I'm gonna do that one again a little further back. First I'm gonna cut off the end. All right, then I'm gonna there, that's better. Now the last one. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the pigtails, and then I'll come back. So once I finish splicing the wires, these are the connectors that I'm going to use for this. They are called, I think they're called like solder seal connectors or something. And basically what they are is they've got a soldering kind of plug in the middle that the wires, the two ends that you're splicing meet right at that soldering plug, and you push them together. And then you've got those red bands there. That's actually an adhesive. And it's essentially one big piece of shrink wrap with some adhesive bands and a soldering center. And I just use old school, man. I just use a lighter. Probably be nice to have a heat gun, but I don't. I just use a lighter, and you'll see how I do this. So let's go ahead and just jump to where I'm soldering these wires together. All right, so you guys are going to laugh at me. So I am using this red one. I can't remember what the size is, but keeping all of this together and the old wire loom kind of out of the way is not an easy thing to do. And I have a really ghetto setup. I don't have a heat gun. So what I have to do is use old-fashioned method. And what I want you to see is that the wires go past the plug, the little solder plug there. The red band is clearly on the plastic part of the wire. What I'm going to do is, if I can, yeah, this is not going to work. I'm just going to add some heat this way. Let me get that so it's clearly in the field of view. And I'm just trying to get it kind of, I'm not doing the whole thing yet. I'm just trying to get it bound up on that, get the glue melted and stuff so it's bound to the wire there. All right, and then what I might do, I'm going to put those same things on the pigtails now and bring it all together. So I've got one on this wire section here, the purple and red one, in my setup at least, in the 2000 XJ, that's your hot wire. And then one of these other ones is the ground, and one is the, I've forgotten what the third one does. Anyway, what I went ahead and did is I kept my old one, and that tells me how to map these out. So the yellow one's going to go in the middle, and this old brown section here, right there, matches up with the far end, the end closest to me in the camera there. So let's go ahead and do the pigtails. I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and film this. Let me pull the camera up. In our case, orange is going to be hot, right? And I've already wired up the orange one down there. So now I'm going to do the middle one here and just show you a little bit better how it's done. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, slide it in so the wire is kind of in the middle there. And then when you're not in the cramped confines of a engine bay, you can really go to town. Just get all around. This is much easier with a heat gun, by the way. Right, so that's good on that end. Then lastly, we're going to do in this case, in the Duralast one, this is tan and orange. You know what, I don't know if I'm going to have a problem with matching color codes and stuff. I don't think I will. But we're going to do that one too. And by the way, I trimmed up the pigtail that I got from AutoZone. It had really long wires, and I don't need that much extra wire in there. So let's go ahead and get that snugged up. And there you go. Oop, I got a little too hot down there. Did not mean to do that. That stinks. Yeah, you don't want to get too close. It just needs to heat up. You don't want to damage the wire again, because you know what, oil's going to be spilling over these things and stuff, and you definitely want it airtight if you can get it. All right, let's set this back up in the tight confines of the engine. All right, here we go. Let's try and get this done. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be easier now with the pigtails, because you can kind of use that to keep things in the right place and spot, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to fold back the two that I'm not doing at the moment. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to feed that in. And I want it to meet up and kind of slide in with the wires that are already there. And I may have made a mistake here. I'm going to have to trim back something. I may have too much wire poking through already in there. Ah, there we go. I think if I just keep pushing that in, that'll be just fine. Okay, so the red is on plastic, and there's a lot of wire in there with the solder plug. So now is when we want to make sure that we heat up that solder plug and get it nice and melted so that it goes through the wires and kind of makes the best bond possible with these things. I'm trying to do this so you can see. Excuse my hand for now. Okay, I think you can see that. Apparently those strands are flammable. You want to keep, if you do it this way, old school with a lighter, just make sure you keep moving it around so you don't get things totally molten and destroy everything. Just trying to see if I can see molten solder in there. I don't yet. So I'm going to just keep doing a little bit longer. Let me make sure I do this so you guys can see. All right, I can see it. You guys probably can't, but I can see it. It's definitely molten and gone in among the strands. So I'm just going to give it a gentle, it's still a little bit soft, so I'm not going to pull too hard. Yeah, that's all good. That's all set up in there. All right, so now you just do it with the other two and you're done. So I'm going to do that without the camera so that I have full access to this area and it's a little easier, but that's generally how you do it. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to look at my picture and I'm going to figure out which of these, just so I make sure, which of these is the one that's going to go in the middle and which of these is the one that's going to go on the far end of my new pigtail. It's all wired up. Do a better job than I did in estimating how much wire you need. I'm gonna have to get like one of those split looms and put it on there and duct tape it, not duct tape, electrical tape it or whatever, zip tie it, just to make sure that it gets some heat protection and protection from all the oil spraying around. I like this a little better though because now those joints are farther away from where the oil filter housing is, etc. So hopefully it'll avoid some of the gunk that gets thrown around in these engine bays. But I'm going to go ahead and start up the car, see if that fixed my problem. Pro tip, before you start up your car, make sure you reconnect your negative. All right, here we go. She's climbing, climbing. It won't focus on these lights. Okay, so that's typically where I've been. And I'm not getting any movement from that thing. So, either I did something wrong on the pigtails and there's still a short somewhere, or, you know, I got the wires placed wrong or whatever, or I really do have a bad sender, and even though the plastic was cracking, it really didn't matter. It wasn't causing a problem. So next thing I'm going to do is swap out the sender, because I don't think I did anything wrong in the pigtails. They're all connected just fine. So I'll swap out the sender and give you guys an update in the next video. Oh, you made it to the end. That's awesome. Listen, I'm Doc. I'm the one who's, you know, the voice behind these videos. And I really appreciate you taking the time to actually watch the whole thing. That's fantastic. If you've got time, if you want to, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you get notified of new videos when I put them up. I'm going to try and do one a week. And I'm going to do a bunch of Instagram stuff, so make sure you follow me there and on Twitter. Instagram's going to be the shorter stuff. I don't have any merchandise yet. I'm planning to as the channel grows. If I succeed, I'll get some merch. For now, if you really want to help me in another way, you like these videos enough, I'm going to put links to my books in the description of the video. I'm a science fiction author in my spare time as well, so I'm juggling a lot of balls. But anyway, I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you at the next one. Hey, do me a favor and turn this junk off. I don't know how to deal with tech.